Hey folks, it is Monday, October 3rd. The time is 1:18 p.m. and the temperature right now is around 13 degrees Celsius. And I am here at a rather quiet Broadview Station. There's a 504 King streetcar and another one. And for as long as I can remember, that sign there that indicates when the next streetcar will be leaving has not been functioning. And has to wonder if they'll ever get around to fixing it. And for this one, I'm going to head on out to Broadview Avenue. And I'm going to walk south all the way down to the Riverside area. So that would be around Queen and Broadview. There is access to the Line 2 subway platform just below here. So this is Broadview, which starts to the north of here, up at O'Connor, and it runs south for about 4.2 kilometers or so, down to just south of Eastern Avenue, I believe. So this one will take us down the eastern edge of the Riverdale neighborhood. And I'll be passing through East Chinatown along the way. Since I've got the light, I'll cross here. And that's a look to the west in towards downtown, and there's the Prince Edward Viaduct off in the distance. And there's a look to the east along Danforth Avenue. And this immediate area is known as the Plater Estates. And then when you get to Chester to the east of here, you'll be in Greektown. There goes 504 streetcar. And just across the street there, where you see the Broadview Diner, used to be for the longest time the New York Cafe, and I think they closed early on into the pandemic. But it's good to see a similar type of business return to that area. The Riverdale Hive Studio School and Gallery. And it's also good to see streetcars return to Broadview. They returned earlier this year after this stretch being closed for what seemed like forever due to a water main replacement. And here we have a large Loblaw supermarket. And there's a rather, at least as far as local residents are concerned, controversial redevelopment plan to put a 35-story building here. And it'll feature that 7-story podium with a park just behind it. And there's a few heritage homes in the front that'll be incorporated into the design. So this area will be losing, at least temporarily, this large supermarket. There's not too many of those in this area, but the new plans call for an even larger supermarket to take its place. I actually think it's a rather neat design. And if you're not going to intensify so close to a major subway station and a streetcar line, gonna let this noisy street sweeper pass. And really, where would you intensify? I think it's a perfectly appropriate use of this land. And we'll kiss goodbye to this hideous surface parking lot. I think there'll be underground parking or parking to replace it. So these homes here will also be part of the redevelopment, but I think they'll be saved. You'll notice the redevelopment line or sign also includes these properties. I think they'll actually lease out to a charitable housing organization. This home here has an open sign in the window. There's some medium density housing. And this used to be one of the city's grander streets. I pointed the camera towards the Prince Edward Viaduct earlier, and that was completed in 1919. And that connected Bloor Street East, just to the west of here in downtown, to the Riverdale area. But before that, Broadview was really the only major north-south road node, or at least it was the closest one to downtown, or closest to the Don River. So to get up this way, you would have to cross down by Queen Street and then head north all the way up Broadview. So the road lost a bit of its importance with the construction of the Prince Edward Viaduct. This is the Frederick Hubbard House. And he was the father of William Peyton Hubbard, the first black politician elected in Toronto, who also served as acting mayor. And there's a park in his honor just to the south of here, just in front of the old Don Jail. And this is where William Peyton Hubbard called home. So he lived right next to his father from he was alive from 1842 to 1935. I don't think he lived here for that period of time, and that is currently the Montcrest School. No left turn onto Broadview Avenue between 8 and 9, 3:15 and 4. Probably coincides with the beginning and ending of the school day. There's some large apartment towers. So this area was originally what you could call a streetcar suburb. Danforth Avenue to the north of here had a streetcar running along it before the subway was built in the 60s. And just on the right is Riverdale Park East. Called that as it is east of the Don River. It connects to Riverdale Park West, just on the other side. There's a hockey rink just below here, along with an outdoor ice skating trail and tennis courts. There's also baseball fields and other facilities in the park. And a lot of these homes date back to the early 1900s. There's a look at the hockey rink and the ice skating trail behind it. And there's even a swimming pool with a water slide, as well as tennis courts. Those apartments across the street are known as the Broadview Mansions. And this park's perhaps best known for its sweeping views of the Toronto skyline. Which will be coming up rather shortly. I've been known to start and end my live streams in this part of Riverdale Park East. It is mostly residential in that area over there. Here comes a 505 Dundas streetcar, so that'll be heading up to Broadview Station. There's part of that famous skyline view. That would be the financial district. And most of those towers are centered around the Yonge Street corridor. And that would be Riverdale, or rather Yorkville to the north. And that stretch will be filling in with a lot more skyscrapers in the near future. And there are no bikes at this bike share dock. So back in the 20s, this park here served as a landfill, and that's what these green posts are here for. They are venting gas out of the ground. A lot of people think they're part of an incomplete fence. That's what I initially thought they were for. All right, I'm gonna snag a picture here. If my camera will cooperate with me. Good enough. There's the Ukrainian Catholic Church. This has to be one of the nicest strolls you can take in this city. You can get a little busy here on weekends. And during the pandemic, when a lot of bars and restaurants weren't allowed to open, a lot of people, myself included, came here with some cold beverages in hand. It was a popular gathering spot for that sort of activity. And of course on the other side is Riverdale Park West. And over there, there's a farm operated by the city. Well, it's more of a zoo, but it is open to the public. And that streetcar will only be heading to Spadina. The Toronto streetcar network is an absolute mess these days. Normally that streetcar would either go to the Dufferin Loop or all the way up to Dundas West Station, but there's a lot of work going on the west side. So you'd have to switch over to a replacement bus if you're heading out that way. And there is an excellent little cafe. I never noticed this, but their awning actually says variety store on it. I believe it's really the Rooster Cafe, and I think they've grown into a bit of a chain as they have other locations around the city. And coming up soon on the right will be the site of the old Riverdale Hospital, which is now the Bridgepoint Healthcare Center, along with the Don Jail, and then we'll be in East Chinatown. There's a statue over there of Sun Yat-sen, famous character in Taiwanese history. And no more bikes at this bike share either. Possibly people who live in the area are taking them to other parts of the city to get to work and that sort of thing. This is the site of the St. Matthew's Lawn Bowling Clubhouse, founded in 1899, back in the heyday of Broadview Avenue. There's all kinds of these historical markers along the street, and this one signifies the old Riverdale Hospital, which has been here in one form or another for over 150 years. I remember visiting one of my grandparents in this hospital way back when I was a kid. Now it's officially Bridgepoint Active Healthcare. There's the new facility next to the old Don Jail, which is now operating as an administrative office. Don Jail originally opened back in 1864. But it was reconfigured into that admin office in 2013. And believe it or not, at one point, this was the site of capital punishment back when that was a thing here in the country. As we enter the Broadview stretch of East Chinatown, on the right we have the Riverdale Library. Here's a plaque commemorating the Don Jail. Looks like it was under construction from 1859 to 1864. I think this is the only library in the city where you can get service in Chinese. And the first establishment to open up as part of East Chinatown back in, I think, 1971, an old butcher shop was in this block over here. And this is Gerrard Street East. There's a Chinese archway greeting you into East Chinatown. And that was built in 2019, so this is one of two official Chinatowns in the city of Toronto proper. The other one being over at Dundas and Spadina, and I recently did a walk from that one over to this one. This is the much smaller, lesser known, and dare I say, lesser appreciated Chinatown. There's a lot of little great eating spots here. And fresh produce markets and that sort of thing. I'm sure Action Kid, who's in town, will be visiting this area. Seems to be walking in the shadows on the side of the street. And there's Look North. Hey, I've seen a sign for this place on Dundas in the other Chinatown. I once got my hair cut at this place. It was okay, but I only paid $15 plus a $5 tip. Looks like there's someone there talking with a police officer with 3 cruisers in tow. Hopefully nothing too serious. And this on the right is Broadview Place, located in an old church. And they build themselves as a place for arts, faith, and education. And that was established back in 2013. Maybe I'll cross the street here. You can barely see the sign. Stop, push button, point, cross. I don't normally do the pointing thing. So this is an interesting housing development. Private property. If you know the story behind this area, fill me in down in the comments. Looks like it might have been built in the 70s. It's definitely lacking in trees and greenery. A lot of these homes go back to the late 1800s, early 1900s. And this is Dundas Street coming up. Lady Marmalade looks like a cool little spot. I think at some point this house was halved to make way for this apartment next to it, which also looks really old. There's probably an interesting story to be told there. I think these bike lanes on Dundas went in about 3 years ago. There's a lot of bikes at that bike share across the street. And this is a 506 Carlton. It says to Main Street Station, off route. So that's going to be heading north here up to Gerrard, and then it'll be turning right and carrying on its merry way over to Main Street Station. I mentioned the Toronto streetcar network is currently a mess, and I think the 506 Carlton is the biggest example of that, and this is nowhere near Carlton. The intersection of Church and Carlton is closed, and a large section of College Street, which that streetcar is supposed to run across on the west side, is also closed. At least they turned onto the bike lane. This area's got kind of a neat, gritty urban feel to it. I haven't seen dogs in a store window in a while, although it looks like these ones have the ability to come and go. There's the Royal Antediluvian Order of Buffaloes. Looks like that's in an old church. Don't really know the story behind that. It is only a matter of time before a number of these houses are bought up and redeveloped. So that jackass is actually speeding up just to hit his brakes into the car in front of him. And here's Queen Alexander Middle School. There's also the Seed Alternative School. And there's another school, I think, Dundas Junior Public School, just on the other side of the property. There's a mission coming up here on the left. St. John's Compassionate Mission. Or rather, the Compassionate Mission. So my plan is to go as far south as Queen, which is coming up. First we'll be going by the old Broadview Hotel, just up here on the right. That's a 58-room boutique hotel that was completed back in the 1890s. However, somewhat recently it was a rooming house with a adult gentlemen's club, you could call it, on the main floor. And right here on the left is a plaque for the Royal Canadian Bicycle Club. Founded in 1891. Army, Navy, and Air Force Veterans in Canada Club. So I'm guessing that's kind of like a Legion. And here's the old Broadview Hotel, which on the rooftop is a fantastic restaurant, and you can get some wonderful views of the area. There's also a bistro and bar on the main floor, which I've never been to. I've been to the upstairs location a few times. And it is actually owned and operated by the same people who look after the Gladstone Hotel over in the West Queen West neighborhood. It was originally Dingman's Hall, going back to 1891. There is a streetcar I wouldn't mind being on. It's a Queen streetcar going to Dufferin. So this is the Riverside neighborhood. I am heading west on Queen Street, and I'm hoping to do a video through this area in the near future. Looks like there's another streetcar coming up behind this, so I'm going to see if maybe I can get to the stop before this next streetcar coming up gets here. That one is a Queen streetcar. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up now, and you can stay with me to see if I catch the streetcar, but I'd like to thank you for watching this one. Starting at Broadview Station, heading south down Broadview Avenue for a little over 2 kilometers. now heading west on Queen Street, trying to catch a streetcar. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below, and if you wish to support the channel, there are links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides. And I think I will make this next streetcar just fine. And I forgot to mention, there's also a super thanks button below if you wish to say thanks that way. All right, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. And here comes my chariot. Short turn. It is going to Spadina.